Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the channel of A2theP Show with me and my friend Stefano. This is a late one, late review of the Premier League games that happened last week. But obviously, we had Monday night with Ammonia, and that's why, and been working and stuff like that. We can't all have easy lives like Stefano. Only joking. Um,
Very easy life.
but yeah, we are back here to review the games from Saturday up until Sunday. I don't think there was a Monday night game in the Premier League. So yeah. So how are we doing there, Stefane?
I'm very well with my easy life. It's fun, good. Yeah, I can't complain. No, I'm good. All jokes aside, I'm good.
Good. All right. By the way, before we carry on, I just want to
I can't
appreciate.
complain.
Oh
No.
shit! Oops.
Oh,
Just before I carry on, that we've gone up from 226 the other day to 229. I think those video shorts help, so we appreciate everybody's feedback and everything. Um, yeah, so let's start by the way, if you're new to the channel, click like and subscribe, share it across all your social media platforms. Give us any feedback if you want. And if, in fact, I'll put if anyone is going to be watching, they're more than welcome to join. Let me give them 1 sec. Let me just get the link up in the description. And the first game, I believe, was Man United
yeah.
against Southampton. Well, Southampton against Man United. Easy 3-0 win. I think, to be honest, I was going to be surprised if United didn't even get all, like, even if they got a draw, I'd be like, that's terrible for obviously against a team that I think, have they lost all their games this live on it? I think they have, haven't they?
I think. Let me see. Southampton. They only won against Cardiff. Cardiff, 3-5.
Is that the Carabao Cup?
Yeah.
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 Let's have
So
a look.
they're with Everton. 4 losses.
Okay. And how many goals have they scored? No,
I mean, they only scored one. Jesus. They conceded 8.
fucking hell, that's terrible.
That's fucking. But you know why, bro? The manager, I don't know, bro. The manager is. He thinks he's managing flipping. I don't know. See, he played with a insane high line, bro. Doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense. When they played against, what did they play? They got smoked. I think they played against Brentford, and they were like playing high line and making mistakes all the time, trying to play out for the back against Brentford, and they conceded very easy goals in
Yeah.
that game. So,
I mean,
I mean, I told you about Southampton, man. They're gonna get relegated.
the last manager in my head, I remember that was, well, technically three last managers in my head. I remember thinking they're too good to be there at Southampton. Was obviously Pochettino, Ronald Koeman, and do you remember the German guy, Raul
Yeah,
Rouse? I can't.
Ralph Hausen,
Yeah, Raul.
Hazen.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, he was quite decent, but he got sacked in the end because they had that embarrassing defeat to Leicester City, like 9-1 or something. I remember, like it.
Yeah, he lost
We
nine
said,
one to Leicester, 9-0 to Man United. Yeah, he was facing some embarrassing losses.
yeah, yeah, but yeah, I think they're gonna go down. I can't see them
Yeah,
staying up the way they're playing. Can I be honest? He's a good goalkeeper, but if they're relying on him to save them, then it's not really fair on him, to be honest. All
but
that
he had
pressure.
like 7, 8 saves against Man United. But Jesus
So it
Christ,
was,
yeah, and they conceded 3. They missed a pen
yeah,
as well before they conceded. They did miss a pen with Archer, and then they go and concede the leaked scored. It was 0-0, and it was just curtains. And then United made it 2-0 with Rashford. I think it was Rashford. Yeah, Rashford. And then Garnacho in the end, 3-0, easy. United dominated them throughout the whole game.
Stefano, I don't think I've ever asked you, what do you think of Rashford? Because I don't understand this guy. I really don't. Like, I think so, he's just one of the most inconsistent players I've ever seen in the Premier League. Um, he goes through those purple patches, and I remember when we first heard about him, he was obviously a young lad, and he came on against. Well, he started against Arsenal, and he actually destroyed us that game. He played really well.
Yeah.
And everyone thought it's a bit like the Wayne Rooney factor, where he announced himself on a big game like that, but it hasn't been great, has it? Let's be honest, he's just so inconsistent, and I don't know if anyone wants him because he's on high wages, ridiculous high wages, and B, um, is he good enough to play for big clubs abroad? Like who would take him on? Definitely not someone like Real Madrid. Definitely not
No,
someone like I can't maybe PSG, but even then, why? What's the point?
can't think of anyone. To be fair, like maybe Atletico might take him play. Maybe I don't know. Maybe Inter, AC, Juve. Like those clubs. Maybe
Yeah,
they could, or someone else in England, like someone like I don't know West Ham. Maybe, but Spurs, those clubs. But I'll be real with Rashford. He started had a lot of uh, undisciplined things off the pitch, in my opinion. And
yeah,
he's a purple patch player, like you said. He's a purple patch. He's someone that he isn't consistent. He will give you like good games, and then he'll disappear, and then again he'll give you like few good games, and then he'll disappear again. It's like Luis, ain't he? Like
mhm.
yeah, but even still, I don't think he improved since he burst into the scene. I don't think
No,
his game really changed since he burst into the scene. And what we saw was a young lad who stepped up under pressure, took his chance. He played against Midland in the Europa League. He scored like a brace, and he helped United went through. And then he had his debut against United and against Arsenal. He scored, and I think he scored against Man City. And then the next year, he had an okay season. Like he had decent, I would say, at best season. And then it hasn't been really consistent ever since. Like ain't read that technically gifted, in my opinion. Ain't as intelligent, I think, as a forward. He can play as a striker. He's more of a wide player, and he's someone that ain't really clinical, to be fair. But he's better than most wingers for me out there. Like get overhyped, but still, he ain't really like that special, in
yeah,
my opinion.
yeah. I think we've said this before about United. The best they can hope for is top six, top four. I mean, I still
Yeah.
think it would have been really like they've not had a great start in a way, Man United, but they had to win this one and they did. But who's their next game? Let's have a look, and let's have a look at
They,
Southampton as well.
they won 7-0 yesterday, Barnsley.
Crystal Palace on Saturday.
Yeah,
That
so
ooh,
that's gonna be
yeah,
rough.
that will be rough.
Well,
That will
they
be
have
rough.
picked up form. Like now, they have picked up form after that loss against Liverpool. So maybe they might scrape against Palace. I don't know. And
If
Palace
I have
haven't been good
to,
either. Let's be real.
yeah, yeah. If I had to ask you, because there's a big debate about Ange Postecoglou. If I had to ask you, who do you think will stay in the job by Christmas, him or Ten Hag? Who would you go with?
Probably him. Probably, I mean, Ten Hag. I think Ten Hag has a bigger chance to
Was
stay
was yeah, yeah, I think so too.
because of the new because he signed a new contract. That's the only reason for me he would stay. And even Ange, like, can Tottenham get better than Ange? I think it's the players that are laying them down, bro. It's not only the manager. Like, you have to look into that as well.
We'll
The
go
manager can
into
do enough for me.
we'll go into that game after.
Yeah.
Who is next? Who is next?
Next. Yeah.
I'm trying to remember the Saturday's game now. Jesus Christ.
It's Brighton, Ipswich. That was a 0-0.
Okay, we can dissect that. No,
Yeah.
that is that Ipswich's first point.
I think no, they got a point against someone else. They got like 1-1
was it Leicester
against
or Fulham?
No, Fulham.
Let's have a look,
Fulham.
brother.
It was
on
Fulham,
Saturday.
and now
Yep.
Brighton away. Yeah.
Well, considering how Brighton made it a tough game for Arsenal, that's quite a bad result for Brighton. And Ipswich is a really decent result. Clean sheet away from home. It's not an easy place to go. I mean, look how many times United have failed to win there. We've actually been beaten at home more often in against Brighton than at the Amex or whatever you want to call
Us
it.
as well. They have a decent record against us.
Yeah, actually, they're very good. When you think about it, Brighton have done really well to stay up and like keep going and producing decent players and stuff like that. But yeah, I mean, obviously, if you look at that result, obviously in isolation, Ipswich is a great result for them more than anybody.
Amazing.
Let's have a look. Who have they got? Both team got next? Oh, Brighton have got Nottingham Forest at home.
Yes.
On Sunday, 22nd of September.
You know what? Ipswich could win. I'm not gonna lie to
you. Easily.
You could say easy, but against Southampton, right now they're in the state that they need the points, like desperately. They want to find something at least to spark at this point.
These
and
are definitely
they can get points.
It's a 6-pointer, that's for sure, 100%.
Oh yeah, it will play a big part in the relegation. 100%. This one.
Okay, next game. Crystal Palace against Leicester City.
What was that? 1-1?
No, 2-2. 2-2. That's I think when I look at the scores here, 20. Working out, they were 2-0 down. Crystal Palace. That's a good result for Crystal Palace to get back into it. Jamie Vardy scored in the 21st minute. Can't say this guy's name. Mevididi, something like that. And the next, he scored a 46th minute. The 47th minute, Mateta scored the 47th minute goal, and then he got a penalty at the stoppage time. So, yeah. I mean, where are these teams in the table? Let's have a look. Yeah, they are. They've played 4 games. Crystal Palace have got -3 goals. Leicester have got -2, so not much to do split. And I think 2 points. Does that say? Yeah, 2 points each.
Yeah. None of them won. Really, none of them.
If United, this is the best chance United have of actually getting something out of the game against Selhurst Park, like actually winning it. Sorry. But at the same time, again, Crystal Palace are one of these teams that I remember how many times they used to beat Man City at the Etihad and even at Selhurst Park. They're a tough team there. I don't know if they're the same now.
They beat us last year. They beat us last year.
Yeah.
They did. They stopped the title charge last year. Why you laughing?
I mean, I don't know why I'm laughing. It was Aston Villa that stopped ours.
Yeah, Watkins.
Or-
Jesus Christ, bro. These teams cause us problems. These are the teams you should be worried. These are the
Let's
teams.
have a, and Leicester's next game. Oh, if they really need to, they need to get a win here. They're playing fucking Everton at home.
Okay, come on, man. Jesus
Yeah,
Christ.
I can't. When I look at the Everton form, it's just horrible. Like I actually feel sorry for them in a little pathetic
I
way.
don't. I don't.
Well, obviously for you it doesn't matter, but they have a little green mark on their form, and I bet you that was the Carabao Cup thing.
Yeah, against Doncaster. You know what?
And you're right.
You know what's ironic? You know what's ironic? I've clocked this. I've checked this. The night we played AC Milan in the San Siro, Everton got knocked out against Fulham in the Carabao Cup on their own ground.
They're a
Imagine the
mess.
level. The levels.
I mean, we'll get to Aston the Aston Villa Everton game, but we'll get to that. Next
You know what?
game.
That was a decent game, man. The Crystal Palace Leicester game. And like these are the type of games where you're gonna see entertainment. Like bare mistakes, bare teams are not gonna sit back and wait. Teams are gonna go for it. Like these are the games that you should be looking at. And the teams
Sometimes,
that can cause
sometimes
issues.
you do. I never forget it, and this is where when you're a supporter of one of the top six, you get quite arrogant about the other games that play. But I never forget one time it was, and I remember it so well. It was Norwich against Wigan, and I had the day off from work. And my brother was like, "Why don't we just go out and watch this game?" I was like, "Which game? Wigan versus Norwich." I think it was at the Norwich Stadium. I don't give a shit about this. It's boring. You put it on when you even on the match highlights, it was so enjoyable and it was full of high. I think it finished. I think it was a draw, 2-2, and it was one of those like a basketball game, like back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. And this is where a lot of fans do this. Like if Arsenal ever played Ammonia, I would rather go and be with Ammonia fans and actually root the underdog. And that's the thing I love about like that's one thing I think football fans who support the big clubs generally do. They look down on other teams like this, and it's not right. Because I agree with you. I think most of the best games is going to be the ones in the middle of the table, especially the beginning of the season. But when you play, I mean, look at Arsenal, Man City last year. It was a point. It was a boring game, and even the
Yeah.
Arsenal game last week against Spurs, it wasn't. I mean, we'll get into that when we get there, but it wasn't a great game. It was just a tight game, like tactically and everything. So, because they're scared to lose. That's what it is.
It is a derby. You want to be careful. You don't want to make any mistakes. That's the
Yeah.
thing with that. But they can be entertaining as well, derbies. Like, εξαρτάται. Δαλώς να είναι μπει γκολ γλύωρα σε παιχνί, είναι αναγκαστεί ο άλλος. Θα πάει επίθεση.
Yeah.
Πρέπει να σου τερμάτας.
Okay. Yeah.
Okay. Fulham, West Ham.
1-1.
Uh,
Jimenez scored in the 24th, and Ings scored in the stoppage time, 95th minute. Sorry. So, yeah, that's not doesn't really do much for any team, to be honest. I mean, let's have a look. I think they're pretty much the same. Yeah, they're literally Fulham's 12 with goal difference of 0 with 5 points, and West Ham is 14th with -1 with 4 points. So it's not much difference between the two there. Not much difference.
No.
I don't know what to think of West Ham this year. Like, the last few years they've had some exciting times, especially not last year, the year before when they won the Conference League. I don't know what to make of them this year. There,
I have high expectations since the beginning. when I saw the transfers they made this
Yeah.
season, like Somerville, Nicholas Fruchtel from Dortmund, the boy in Todibo. They brought some big players that will play for big clubs or played for big clubs. So I would expect a lot more with the quality they have, and they already have big players in their team that can make a difference. And the fact that they needed Danny Ings to save them, it just shows you there's an issue at scoring goals because Danny Ings, don't get me wrong, he's a good player, bro. I like Danny Ings. Like he's a mid-table striker. And when he was at Southampton, he was banging in goals for fun. When he was at Liverpool, he was unlucky with injuries, but I liked him because he was impactful. And even if he didn't score, he did something at least. He was involved. So the fact that they didn't even want him, they wanted to sell him in the transfer window. I think they still want to sell him. It just, I don't know, it's poor decision for me because you have a player that already knows the league and can tag you out in games like this. And it just shows you what importance make to have someone that knows how to score goals in this league. And I know he's injury prone, hasn't done much since he's been there, but still, like, I mean, you brought in a top player in Nicholas, who played in the Champions League final, like led his team into a Champions League final, and he hasn't really clicked, and he got injured. None of the signings they made so far made any difference for me. But there's still time, I think. There's still the manager still needs to work. What he has to do right now until the end, or if he doesn't, he might get sacked. I don't know.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, there is a lot of good quality players coming through like that, and if they're not clicking by Christmas, you do have to wonder what's going on with them. Um,
Yeah.
with
Yeah.
with Fulham, um, I think Fulham is okay there. Like, I think what's his name, Silva's done a good job, really good job with them. Um, I, I don't know who it benefited really, to be honest. I think Fulham would be more disappointed because they were at home. Um, that's it. Don't worry. Funny thing is, I've got my nephew crying. Hey. Anyway, so what I was saying, Stefano, like I think in terms of the result, I think it benefits West Ham because obviously they're away from home. They lost to Man City, so they had to kind of get a bounce back result. They probably would have wished, obviously, well, they would have hopefully got the win and everything, but they didn't. But they didn't lose again. They didn't lose two in a row. But then again, they are playing the best team last week in the Premier League, probably in Europe. Um, so yeah, that's it really. With Fulham and West Ham, there's not much to say. Like I think
Yeah.
them two, they probably wish to get to the top half of the table. Um, but I'm not sure. Oh, what's happened? Oh, he's gone. Oh, he's back.
Oh, Mangosa.
Yeah, you just came and went back in.
Uh,
Let's discuss. I'm sorry, Stefano. We're gonna have to talk about your team now. I think that's the next game. First of all, you watched it and you said you got frustrated because they weren't actually doing much. It is a shocking result considering how well the Liverpool have been playing and not conceding many goals either, and yet this is what happens. I think Nottingham Forest probably hope for a draw, but obviously to sneak it at the end is very good. Um, we already said that. Me and you have said that Nottingham Forest will stay up the way they're playing at the moment. So go ahead, take it from me. Who's at
so,
fault here? Like, did you see anything
oh,
different in the second half, or was it all? Um, can you blame
what's
mostly
this?
the players here?
I blame the players
Okay.
and the manager. It was shocking. It was shocking. Bro, it's frustrating because it's a guaranteed 3 points this game. And I don't expect them to win the league or anything. Don't get me wrong, bro. I don't think that we're a good team, but we're not Man City. You can beat them, but for me, no, man. I don't think we have the I wouldn't say know-how. I would say the consistency mostly to go out there and win the league. And just showed you on the weekend how complacent we were and how much we underestimated Nottingham Forest because we were playing like the game started at 2-0 instead of 0-0. We were playing like dickheads throughout the whole game. Like we missed chances. The goalkeeper made some good saves. I'll give credit to the defense as well. Nottingham Forest for keeping it compact throughout the whole game, and the fact that they scored and they didn't switched off after that and instantly equalized. But again, you have to really threaten them if you want to do something. And we conceded, and we were still the same. We were worse. We didn't even try to equalize or do something. At least change it up. Don't lose. And I don't know, man. It's just one of those ones where it could be a bleep, could be something that happens, and it just might not happen again. Who knows? But the fact that we learn and we bounce back, this with AC, we were 1-0 down, and I was worried that the team is losing the touch or whatever. But it was early, so it gave us an advantage to turn it around. The fact that we managed to turn it around with 2 goals from set piece and half time. The fact that we dominate AC Milan in that game, it just shows me that we need work, in my opinion, to be a lot more consistent. And this manager is learning. He's still learning. He's not Klopp. He's still the team he has at this moment ain't even his. So again, I'm not trying to make excuses or whatever, but it plays a big part when you're playing a team with someone else's players. But he has done a very good job so far to implement his own play style and do something at least with these players because they're good players. And it just shows you that they have a good understanding and they have, like, μπήκαν καλά μες στο σύστημα τους, μαθαίνουν το πιο γλύωρα παρά από ό,τι περίμενα. Ακόμα έχει πολλή δουλειά. Still a long road. I think results like this will come, like we had against Forest, but it's just us mostly. I put it on the players because they didn't even try, in my opinion. Salah was making too many mistakes. Soboslai wasn't good. Like there was Jota didn't really do an impact. There wasn't really much to say for my players. I'll have to give credit to Nottingham Forest for taking the chance and Schickhausen 1-0 and winning the way they've won. I think they deserved it at the end of the day. They took advantage of my competence, I would say. And that's the main thing. You need to be careful.
Especially winning at Anfield, it's a big thing. It's a big thing. And look, he is learning. He needs time. He needs time. He needs players that will fit his system. Like I was going to ask you, like he play. Who did he play up front? It's not. It's not Nunes. He plays Jota, right, most of the time.
He doesn't like Nunes for some reason. Doesn't like him.
But
I can understand why. I don't like him either. Why?
Really?
No.
Overrated.
Yeah. Too overrated. For me, it's not good enough, bro. Like we brought him for like 60, 70 million. And he hasn't done much. He hasn't been impactful. He hasn't, I said the word I like. And I knew it when we first signed him, was against it because he wasn't really the profile that we needed. Like they were saying, because he's chaotic, can fit club system and all that stuff. But I didn't really see any impact for him, like when he first came. And I guess I would say give him time and all that. I gave him time. I gave him his second season. He did okay. But again, if he doesn't, again this season, if he doesn't do it, he isn't even impactful or does something when he starts, maybe the manager would look to sell him. He would be open to sell him. But he also said that he will be my main man up front, and it seems like he's doing the complete opposite at this moment.
I mean, if I asked you like 3 top strikers now in let's say Europe, let's not go crazy and go world. Obviously, Haaland is number 1 easily.
Yeah.
Who would you pick after that one? Who in your mind? I mean, you hear always about what's his name from Napoli, Osimhen and stuff. I don't really know. I've never actually sat down and watched that guy properly, so I don't know how good he is.
He's good. Very good. Like, no, I'm going to go that far. Top 3. No way.
But Nunes is weird because when he first came, I think a lot of people expected a bit like, not exactly like Haaland, but quite impactful, like you said, and do a lot more than what he's doing. At the moment, I can understand why. I mean, like you said, he said he's going to be my number 1 pick. Maybe he's seen something he doesn't like in him in training, or the way he plays, his tactics, his formation. At the end of the day, some coaches need that time to look at players and go, yeah, you know what? Nah, this doesn't do for me.
Yeah.
A lot of people said because of his demeanor, this is the coach now, Slot, and the way he is and the way he's quite happy-go-lucky kind of guy, people thought he's going to do well. And I've read a quote from him that when he first got there, he wouldn't get involved in the dressing room until the season started because he wanted them to get used to life without a manager, like without Klopp sort of thing, and talk amongst themselves. And then he would obviously start talking to them on the training pitch and then trying to push them and stuff like that. No, he's an interesting guy, and obviously winning the league with Feyenoord in a league that's dominated by Ajax all the time. It's a good job, very good job. By the way, breaking news: match ended. Arsenal and Atalanta.
How much? New.
Yeah, I'll be honest with you. I'm surprised. Like when I saw, with just for a second with Arsenal, I'm digressing now. When I saw Arsenal's lineup, I thought I was really strong there, and I kept telling you just in my opinion, just sacrifice the game. Like we need to focus more on Man City. But fair play, draw away from home is not bad.
He put Raya, Timber, Gabriel, Saliba, White, Rice, Ali, Havertz, Jesus, Saka, Jesus, Martinelli.
He's going for it.
Yeah, Jorginho, Trossard, Calafiori, and Sterling.
Hey, do you know who he reminds me of? Because of this small squad, he reminds me of Klopp. Where he literally squeezes every ounce of this small squad.
Yeah,
fair enough. Yeah,
sleeping out. Yeah. This is why he never wanted to get a fucking backup right winger and kill Salah.
Yeah.
But bro, I mean, I even Klopp. You know what? Klopp at least put youngsters in. He rotated.
Yeah. Yeah.
He wasn't always first team. Like he was playing players like Phillips and Rich Williams and random players, Nico Williams and that random players, for example. Even last year.
Okay. Yeah, we've talking about Nottingham Forest. We've spoken about your manager. We saw Nottingham Forest next game. Brighton, isn't it? Did we say Brighton?
Yeah.
Right. Who's your next game then?
I don't see it. Sure, I know it's on Bournemouth. Yeah, Bournemouth.
Bournemouth.
Yeah. 5 o'clock.
I mean,
Cyprus time. 3 o'clock.
They just lost 1-0 to who was it? Chelsea last week. Was that the late kickoff? I think that was the late kickoff, wasn't it? Or was that a Sunday kickoff?
I think it was Sunday.
Okay.
It was Sunday, yeah.
Well, obviously we have to talk. Let's talk about that one. Bournemouth.
No, Saturday. Sorry. Saturday.
Ah. So wait a minute.
So let me see which one's next. Let me see which one's next. Okay, C Brentford.
Who? Oh, City Brentford. Yeah.
Standard from C. Brentford go 1-0 up with Wita, and then Haaland brace game over. That was it. Brentford got a bit giddy. They scored first, and then they got Pam. Jesus Christ, look how many chances. For C. Jeez. It should have been 6-1.
Actually, that's a question I was going to ask you. Do you think there's a chance that you can go above Arsenal this year and take second from them? If it happens, but you don't know. You're not sure.
No. Maybe. I don't know.
I've said to you, the reason I don't see Arsenal winning the league is because I don't see enough strength and depth in that squad. And I think I heard that Odegaard's missing for months now. I get annoyed with this Odegaard discussion. Like, for me, he is actually a really good player. I'm not saying he's world class. I'm not saying he's like Zidane or anything like that. But he is important to the way Arsenal play, the way Arteta wants him to play, and he has been effective. Now, as a captain, he's not one of those screamers or shouters or proper leaders like that. But he leads by example the way he plays. I do agree that there was a statement.
Do you think he's the man for you, for Arsenal? Because I think they're better leaders in your dressing than Odegaard. Like Gabriel. Or maybe, I don't know.
I mean, Gabriel. In terms of organisation, obviously as a centre-back, he'll probably be a better player. But let's be fair, like Gabriel has made mistakes before in the past and makes himself look stupid. And even this year, he's made a few mistakes where it could have led up to a goal, and it's not cost us too much damage and everything. But I think he made a mistake against Brighton as well, led up to the goal. I think anyway, if I remember rightly.
Didn't he injured Merino as well in training?
Get out of here. That's an accident. That's not. Yeah. I mean,
he's aggressive. He's aggressive.
The one thing with Odegaard is that I agree with. They were saying, think of his last away performance in the top 6 or big game for Arsenal. It was actually against Spurs 2 years ago when he scored one just outside the area and he set up. I think it was Saka he set up, if I remember rightly. But anyway, we're digressing. Brentford. Yeah, exactly. Brentford and Man City. Who they got next? Man City. Oh, us. What am I talking about? Fucking hell.
I was gonna say the Chargers, but yeah.
Do you see Arsenal doing anything there?
It depends. If you want to get smoked and play high line, go for it.
So, be honest, realistically, the best result we can hope for is a draw.
Why though? Like, to be fair, we always went for it when we were playing against them, and we were we're getting smoked.
But come on, you were at your peak then. You had Salah at your peak. You had Mane at your peak. You had what's the name?
Aren't you on your peak as well now?
Are we?
No.
I mean, don't forget, last time we beat them was 2015 at the Etihad. Fucking Giroud and Santi Cazorla. Yeah. So I don't. the last year was a good point because we've not shut them down like that, or nobody's shut them down like that before. So for us to get a win there, it will probably be the same as what we did to Tottenham and try and suffocate the game and hit them on the break. But I think that's how he's going to go. I can't honestly. What you
Yeah.
just said about going on a high line, I don't think Arteta will
Oh no,
do
that's
that.
suicidal. That's suicidal. That's suicidal. But Inter, I saw the game against Inter. Inter played like that. They sat back, they let City have the ball, and then they were winning the ball. It was either the goalkeeper making saves, or they were like clearing it out. Didn't really let City. I mean, they missed chances, but at least under Haaland, who is the most clinical finisher, they were like, okay, lose, but the goalkeeper made very good saves. And we got lucky, but still, I mean, the way they played was that type of football, sit back, counter attack, hit them on the break, hit them on the break, hit them, and then they spare chances. So if you're gonna play like that, bear in mind you have to pray most of the time on luck and your goalkeeper making fucking outrageous saves because they're gonna come at you full guns blazing it, and you're gonna have to close them down very well. Counter. Other than that, because your manager plays a similar style with him, I don't think he can go toe to toe. But because Klopp played different, for me, it's one of the main reasons why Klopp was managing to beat Guardiola or get it one over it, at least, or managing to win a league title against him. Because he played different. It wasn't almost the same as what he's doing. And that's the main thing for me. But if you want to get something at least, like I said, you have to be very lucky for them not to score or close down the main man that scores the goals.
Mind you, like when I look, I think it's doom and gloom, like with some Arsenal fans, because they're literally saying, I mean, to be fair, that they were taken in context of the Tottenham game as well. If we lost both, or we got a draw with one and then lost the other one, blah blah blah, it was over. I don't agree with that. I think it's a long way to go. And even if we win it, it will be psychologically brilliant for Arsenal, but doesn't mean it's that's that's it basically. Because Man City or Man City.
Yeah,
I mean, the one thing different about this Man City, they started off well. How many times have they started off badly? They wait until Christmas, and then after Christmas, and then like between January and February, they start going for it and winning like 15 in a row, 16 in a row. This year, it could be different, but yeah, they're just a juggernaut.
yeah.
Um, be honest with you, what do you think of these charges against them? Do you think they will be punished severely, or because they're talking about they're going to punish them severely? I don't know what that means exactly, but
Aku hindi
that's
bola pronta. Aku bola. Llevas si Pantalon, points deduction, yo, no participation, cups, Champions League, transfer buckles, like all the type of stuff that can ruin them, destroy them all. Apparently, like players are looking for new clubs just in case if it happens and all this stuff. It's just all rumors and media trying to like feed propaganda for me. But
look.
like at the same time, it can happen and they can get away with it because they have very good lawyers. But that's the main thing.
I mean, don't forget, like, wasn't it a few years ago they were kicked out of the Champions League and they reinstated them back into it? So, like, it's corrupt. I mean, let's be honest. And I
Yeah, they
always
can
agreed
find
with you.
loopholes. Yes.
Yeah, I always agree with you though. If they did punish them severely, where they, let's say, for example, demote them, get them out of the league, or a points deduction, fair enough. But if, like you said, I've always agreed with you. Like if they say, okay, we'll strip this title, we'll strip this title, it's like, Galileo, they've worked hard. Like those players actually played to win it. They might not know what was going on, so you can't take that away from them. It's a bit disrespectful. Um, but yeah, we digressed into that one. What was the next game? Was it the Bournemouth one against Chelsea?
Hey, do you know, bro?
Have a look. I
No.
feel like.
Oh, Everton.
Oh yeah, fucking hell. Again, 2-0 up. What the fuck is wrong with Sean Dyche?
It's like
I'll be so.
they score 2 goals and then they switch off. You know when you like play good, you're on career mode or ultimate team on FIFA and you play good, started winning 2-0, and then your controller turns off. That's what happened with Everton. They score 2 goals, but then battery, you need new batteries or your controller should be charged. And then, holy shit, ce nu vrei sto Sirma, ce m-aș na ta vrei, ce ksero yo, ce stra.
Great analogy there. Great analogy. Oh man. I mean, they're just not very good, are they? They're just. And I keep thinking,
They're
like
terrible.
back in the day, there used to be managers that you would call to help you in this situation, um, and nobody's around. Like Allardyce is retired. Um, who else? Roy Hodgson could probably help. He's retired now. Like, there's just so. What's the option for them? What is the option for them?
Well, probably change manager. That's the only thing you can do now. Because you can't change your whole players. You already made your signings. You have the squad that you have. You have to make the best out of it at the end of the day. So you need to find someone. I mean, that's the only thing. You have to find someone that changes something. Because this is bad. This is beyond shocking. And you can't be this shit.
And
It's
I always
impossible.
believe,
It's
I
impossible.
always, I always believe this when you have let's say you do it once before in another game where you're winning 2-0. The next week, if we scored, make it 2-0, as a fan, I would be nervous. Like, I would. I'm not. I remember like when there was a game years ago when Arsenal playing Tottenham, and it was the 4-2 one, and then Tottenham came back to 4-4. I think it was Aaron Lennon that scored the last goal, and
Yeah.
they went berserk over it. Ever since that day, I was always nervous, even when we're winning 3-0 against Tottenham, because I always think back to that day. And with Everton, like it's shocking, but they're low on confidence. Um,
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. Like I said, I've got a really good friend who's an Everton fan, and he said to me like they're not learning from past mistakes. They're not learning from.
No.
They're
I mean,
not.
look at the goals they concede, bro. It's bad. Ball watching. A lot of spaces. No marking. Not trying to do any tackles or small tackles or keep the ball out. Trying to like ragasti mapam, jabno players to corner flat. And I'm skadinas katisterizis. We frustrate them. Frustrate Aston Villa. Close them down. Do something. Just do something. Do not let your opponents score 3 goals against you very easy. You have to give credit to Aston Villa as well for turning around. I mean, what a
Yeah,
goal by Duran. Belter. It was a
he
screamer. It's unreal.
he's doing a very good job, or Unai Emery. Um,
You know?
but yeah, Sean Dyche needs to be careful because he's probably going to be the first manager to lose his job this season. The way they're going, but again, we're talking about managers for like the big clubs, like Man United or Tottenham. Not really big, but anyway, um, we. But when you look at Everton, who do you know? I was thinking straight away in my head, like, do you imagine Southgate coming into that? I don't. Nah, I don't think so.
I mean, is it worse than this?
Well, but Southgate's record, he has been. I remember he was at Middlesbrough and they got relegated with him. So it's not. He's not a really good record there.
That would be bad. I'm hearing rumors of David Moyes return.
I mean, that will give him a bit of an uplift. But they had this kind of
Your
uplift.
revival, I don't know, something to lift the spirits. I don't know.
They had this kind of bounce with him, with Sean Dyche, because he knows how to get these clubs out of this situation. But the problem with Everton, it's the long term, and so there's some people out there that, like, I remember when was it Newcastle or Aston Villa that got relegated, and there was fans saying that, I think it was Newcastle because it happened to them twice. They were saying that, it's better because it sorts out the club, because then when you hit rock bottom, you kind of have to switch on and go, what do we need to change here? Now, obviously, if you're an Everton fan, you don't want them to go down and blah blah blah. But what if it carries on like this? Like, even if, let's say, David Moyes comes, saves you this season, but then the year after you go through this again, when's it gonna stop?
I don't know. Apparently, the new stadium is going to stop it. I don't know what's going to stop. Because you need a structure to stop this. You need people that know what they're doing. You need to ship players out your club. Like Pickford and other players.
And my friend was telling me, one of the owners of Everton, he's been involved in corruption charges, and allegedly is a lot of drug dealing behind it. Allegedly, who knows? But I'm like, what is this? Like, this is the thing that it's a bit upsetting in football when you get these crazy people involved. But yeah, it's a mess there. It's a mess. And with Aston Villa, though, they're doing all right, and they won in the Champions League game as well against Young Boys. Yeah,
3-0, easy win. Could have been more than that.
He's a great coach to have in European games. Okay, fair enough. His record in Europa League is obviously the focal point of his career, but in Europe, he's a great manager to have. Absolutely brilliant manager.
Oh yeah. Now he can do something for you. Like he can take you far. Like how he did with Villarreal. Like he went to the semi-finals.
Yep.
For me, last year he failed, in my opinion, in the Conference League. He failed miserably in the end.
Yeah.
I guess.
But they did lose to the team that won it. So
yeah, still, like a team you should have beat at the same time. It was a team with a lot of resilience and fight and courage, and didn't feel anything. But at the same time, it was very easy to beat as well. So yeah, it was comfortable for the So that's the one thing, like, for me, why it's disappointing, because how they beat them and how they knocked them out. It was just demolition from both games.
Yeah. It was actually a shock. It was a shock, that one.
Yeah,
but
I didn't know. No one expected that. But the best result was like a draw. They scored 4. It was insane.
Yeah. Anyway, let's move on to the, what's it called? The Bournemouth game, right?
Bournemouth? Is it Bournemouth? Yeah.
Chelsea? Yeah.
Yeah.
Jadon Sancho, mate. Jadon Sancho.
I mean,
I don't know, really. I think when I look back at this incident with him and Ten Hag, and I remember it was against Arsenal where he had the press conference and they were saying, why was he not in the team, blah, blah, blah. And he kind of flipped and told everybody that he was not happy with him and certain things he was doing. And then Jadon Sancho released that statement on Instagram, I think it was. Now, I've always believed what people say about Ten Hag, that if he won that game against Arsenal or even got a point, he would not have said anything about it. But because he made it public, it pissed off Jadon Sancho. Now, on Sancho's behalf, it's not great the way he behaved and releasing statements and blah, blah, because I think it's pathetic when they do this. But I think he had to leave because it just wasn't working for him at Man United. And the same thing is, right? Like, when you remember him with Dortmund, and there was that big hype about him and how well he was doing, and United brought him to the Premier League. Again, there was a big hype, but it hasn't really worked for him at United. Let's see, maybe it'll work for him at Chelsea. Because if I remember rightly, is it a loan deal or do they get him on an actual transfer fee?
Chelsea went to Chelsea for 25 million.
25 million. Hmm.
Yeah.
Not a bad
They
idea,
lost
really.
shit tons of money on him, to be fair, man. They were bought him for like 70 something at that time. It was big marquee signing. They wanted to sign him from a long time ago, Man United at that time. They brought him in when Oli was there. Same year they bought Ronaldo and Varane, I think. So he went there that season. And I think, I don't know, man, it hasn't really worked out for since the beginning, my opinion.
No.
And you could already see at that time that it was a signing that, I don't know, you're like, okay, cool, I'll give him time. I'll give him more time because he's a good player. I'm good. That's, that's, yeah, he's a good player and he can make an impact. There were games where he was like popping with a few assists and goals and doing something at least. I remember even against us when we played them that game, Ammonia. He came on as a sub and gave an assist to McTominay. He managed to unlock our defense. And yeah, I mean, yeah, he's that type of player that can do that to you. Like he has the ability
He
to
has got ability. He is.
change
He's
game.
actually. He's okay. So if you look at Sancho and look at Rashford, who's got a highest chance of actually doing better in general?
What's that? Συγκεκριμένος ο Rashford έκαμε ένα μπουκαμένος τώρα στην καριέρα του. Who's the better player for me? Is Sancho.
Yeah, I would agree.
He's not a kick and run player. He can take on players. Just needs consistency, my opinion. Good performances. And he will do something. Like we saw it at Dortmund. He went back, he went somewhere where he felt comfortable, where he felt needed, like loved, appreciated. All the fans loved him. There were no fans calling for his head or like like a Man United where they're like, it's your fault and it's you and the manager, has every right and all this stuff. There were a few of them where they're defending him. But since the beginning, I don't know, it hasn't really worked out for him. And he went back to the place where he grew. He grew as a player. He went there as a kid, like
Got
a
to
club
Champions League
that
finally.
yeah. I mean, yeah, man. You saw the impact. And now that he's at Chelsea, completely different environment, has a good manager with him as well that likes using players like him. And he's with a lot of players that, were friends or were in the same academy in the England setup back when it was like with Lee Carsley when he won the World Cup,
Yeah.
the U17s. So he has a lot of mates from back there, from that. So he feels comfortable in that, and he he apparently supported Chelsea when he was a kid. So and he is in London, close to his relatives. I mean, this is a signing that it can succeed, in my opinion.
Do you think the Chelsea coach? Because I always think that even if you have a big squad, it's not an easy job because you have to always consider your who you're going to pick and everything, and who's your best 11, blah blah blah. I like the way he's kind of told certain players, like even with Sterling, that don't really need you. Obviously, with the left back Chilwell, you needed someone like that in Chelsea that's going to basically kick ass and say like, I can't have you, basically.
Yeah.
I think he'll do all right. I'm starting to think he'll do all right.
A lot of players, I think, will do all right now that with Maresca. I think Maresca knows how to use these players and where. In fact, he has Neto in his team. He has Sancho now, Palmer. Apparently he wants to sell Mudrik now. So he's someone that is off. in the chopping ball out, and maybe a few of them could be next, like your Enzo Fernandez, for example.
Oh my god, yeah. Fucking hell.
You know what I'm saying?
What
Like players
what
have done so well since they
what
went
has he
there.
done?
Nothing,
What has he done?
nothing. You know what he's
Or
done?
was he not one of
Riches.
the players? Was he not one of the key players that won the World Cup with Argentina?
Yeah, he got like young player of the tournament. It was before he went to Chelsea
Yeah,
at that
it's
time.
it just shows you that like it doesn't matter how good you can be in leagues across the world. Certain places just won't suit you.
Yeah,
It won't suit you. Like the best example I can give is Granit Xhaka. He I remember one game with Arsenal. We were playing AC Milan in the Europa League, and because they play such a slow tactical way of playing the Italian leagues, he was fucking brilliant in that game because nobody was on him all the time for the ball. He goes to Leverkusen, he wins the title and stuff like that, and I think it's the double actually. Sorry.
yeah.
Um, I think certain players suit certain leagues. You know,
Leagues,
I don't.
systems, everything. Yeah.
Definitely, like I don't even. I've always wondered, like the one player that's always been in my mind to try the Premier League. Obviously, forget it now; he's not going to bother. But Lionel Messi, I've always said it. Like, could he handle the physicality? Could he do it? Would he be any good? I mean, he's always been a small dude. He's not obviously fucking huge.
No, you do.
Um,
He'll rip you apart. Of course. He would rip you apart.
what in the Premier League
Yeah,
in his prime?
I
I
cannot
don't know.
question Messi.
I
None.
don't know.
He's too good, bro.
No,
He's too
nah,
good
man.
to fail there.
Ronaldo was more. Ronaldo had the
Yeah, he's more serious,
physicality,
of course. But you had magicians in the league. It's not like you never had players like him in the Premier League.
but a lot of them didn't. I mean, okay, Antonio Reyes when he first came to Arsenal, he was brilliant, and then he got slapped by Gary Neville.
Beckham, Dennis Beckham.
What do you guys think about? We're getting to that, my brother. We're
Yeah,
getting into that. But yeah, before we go into that one, but I'm sorry, like some just like I can remember so many good players for Arsenal that they were good technically, but physically they were fucking poor, really
I
poor.
mean, look,
You know.
look at Coutinho, for example. He was like made out of Weetabix, and he turned out as a great player for Liverpool. Didn't have the best physicality, but he had talent that could make a difference.
Yeah, fair
Coutinho
enough.
was the perfect example for me. Like even Payet, when he went to West Ham, did wonders when he was there.
Yeah.
Even United had a few of them. I could say like back in the day. I don't remember much, but
I'm not
pretty sure he did.
convinced.
Really,
I'm
Messi,
not convinced. Yeah, I'm
Messi,
not.
it's crazy.
And personally, I preferred, even though it's weird to say this as an Arsenal fan, but I preferred Ronaldo if I had to pick the two.
Really,
Jason, Jason Park. What, like good or? I think he was quite good actually. I think he can handle it.
Usain Bolt was phenomenal.
Yeah, apart from
He
one thing,
was,
he used to always score against fucking Arsenal. He used to fucking piss
but
me
the guy
off.
was everywhere. The guy was everywhere, bro. He was a machine. Jesus. Now he was
All
unreal.
right, yeah. We saved the best to last. Look, we really mentioned this. It wasn't a great game. It was, it was, uh, it was horrible to watch in a way. But I tell you what, like people question Arteta and can they do it with these players missing and all this shit. It was a good game. Like in terms of tactically, he got it spot on. Spurs, I mean, even Spurs fans were saying how they could have easily been there for like 500 hours and they still couldn't score past Arsenal. I mean, they had the chances at the beginning of the game when Raya made some saves. We missed that great opportunity that at first I thought he was being selfish, Martinelli, but then I realised that it got closed off for him to square it to I think it was Bukayo Saka, I think it was. But then he took a weak shot instead. In terms of chances, there's not many to say. We we handled it really well. Timber was fantastic. I'm sorry, Stefano, but I think in terms of partnership, Gabriel and Saliba are probably the best in Europe at the moment.
Ah,
Yeah,
really?
I,
Really?
yeah, I think so. I think they are. It's working, and ever since them two have been there, uh, you can always miss like um, when we've missed obviously certain players going forward and stuff like that. But I'm sorry, like when you look at them two, I mean, look at Saliba, not last year, the year before. He got injured. Our defense went terrible there, like really bad. And don't get me wrong, we still have options. We still got Calafiore to play. If Tomiyasu comes back fit, he can play. Last shot on target was on the 18th minute. Poor game. Yeah, it was a poor game, 100%. Um, but in terms of them
No,
two, I'm
no.
sorry, they are the most important players. Them two. I think if one of them gets injured, I think this year will be better because we've got obviously certain options. But like I said, 2 years ago we had fucking Rob Holding.
Jesus.
So um, yeah, Ben White wasn't great on the day, but even the everyone just did a defensive job so well. I did worry about the centre midfielders because of their legs, like Jorginho and Partey, but they obviously we won the game, so we don't have to worry too much about it. I'm not sure about Trossard and number 10. Don't think it really works. But we
That
have got
false nine.
options.
They came with false nine now. The lineup. False 9, 10, and etc. Got Jared
Yeah, I mean,
Havertz.
look, Havertz has been. I don't know if Arteta originally bought him to play striker, but it's kind of been working. And don't forget, before the goal, it was him that did the touch and brought it down, and then they obviously it ricocheted off them to go for a corner. Um, and even Gary Neville was saying that the way Arsenal fans got excited about that corner, it was like they already scored a goal. And obviously, don't get me wrong. I don't think it was a foul. I don't think. By the way, before we get into that, I think the Timber thing. I don't think was a red card. I think that was fucking bullshit. I don't think he even touched him. Um, but with the whole thing of it was a foul on Romero. I think that's bollocks. I think they're your centre back. You should be fucking up for that. And the goalkeeper is terrible there. But then again, he was terrible for that because everyone's saying how good he is actually.
Nice, good.
But apparently that's their weakness there. Like we exploited their weakness with the set pieces, and they've been terrible this year. Um, and I'm sorry, like this was a good time for them to play us with these injuries problems, but it's like they made it sound like it was completely changed 11. Like we've not. At the end of the day, Thomas Partey is a very experienced player. Jorginho very experienced. The two centre backs, like I said, have been playing together for a long time. Ben White's been a right back for a long time now. Timber, let's give him a full season, but I like what I'm seeing. To be fair. Um, in terms of the front three, I'm a bit worried about Martinelli's form. I don't know what's happened to him since not last year, the year before. There's something not right there.
What the fuck did you
Um,
do there in the first half?
I don't know. It was
My
such a
man
weak
was
shot.
wide open, waiting for him to pass and he shot. But why? If your performances are bad, at least make up for them for making the right decisions.
Yeah, but
When you
apparently it was closed off for him to square it there. So I don't know. At that time.
still try and square it, try and square it, try and do the most smart thing. If it comes off, it comes off. At the end of the day, like you don't why would you do that?
But yeah,
I
but
would be
that's
pissed.
another thing.
I would be
I,
pissed
I
if
agree.
he plays it.
I agree with you, but I also think that when he took the shot, why not take it a bit more venom in
Maybe
it, like harder, like. But look,
it's not that
we're
clinical. Like, I'll be real. Like even though I said he's, uh, but he still needs to work up. He ain't the best when it comes to finishing, and he showed it. I, I don't know, man. What is if it's a confidence thing? or ability, or just, I don't know, intelligence, maybe, why he makes the wrong decisions at times. I don't know what it is. He hasn't stepped up over the since 1 year now. The only guy that makes the difference is Saka on the wing.
On the
He's the only
wings,
guy.
yeah.
He's the only guy. And even Havertz, like, been more impactful than him.
Do,
Just
do
in
you know the
general, not
problem?
just in terms of goals, just in general.
But do you know the problem is with Trossard is a great example. He'll come on, he'll do well, and he'll score a goal, maybe assist, and then the next week Arsenal fans will be like, play him, start him. We
And he
start
does not.
him, and he does nothing. So I don't like. For me, I do think Martinelli is probably the person to start, but I don't know what's going on with him there. I don't know. Um,
What about Raheem Shillings? Raheem Shillings. He comes on
look,
and plays on his position
I I
instead.
think as a I think as a backup option for Saka, it's a good idea. Like give that kid some rest, man. Like he's constantly like you said, and even he can have poor games. But because we love him because he's from the
Yeah.
youth academy, a lot of people don't want to criticize him. But yeah, but then again, he is very young, and even for
But when
England,
does he get rest? When does he get rest?
never
No,
unless he's injured.
no. I'm so Jesus, and he got injured. Jesus.
Yeah, man.
I don't understand.
But I tell you what, I think Ange better start getting some. Because even yesterday they beat Coventry, but apparently they were fucking poor. They were really poor.
Yeah, they
You
should have
know,
lost.
they,
They shit.
he needs to he needs he needs. Well, first of all, it was a stupid thing to say that he. I think he said something about he guaranteeing a trophy in his second season. I was like,
No, he
okay.
says I always win trophies in my second season. That's what he said. You're at Tottenham. Behave. You're at Tottenham. They don't do that there. They're allergic to trophies. They see trophies and they
Because
go, absolutely. That's what they do.
I tell you what, Stefano, because he's Greek
Stop this.
Orthodox, he needs to bring the priest in that stadium to bless it
More
to
than
get
that.
some.
More than that. Any God.
God, Allah, Buddha. I'm not joking there. I agree with you there. It's not good. It's poor. It's poor.
You know, I used to have a bit respect for them, like when they were challenging and trying, but now, Jesus Christ, it's becoming jarring and boring. Like you would expect them to do something and try at least win, and
Hey,
see them
you're talking
go
about
by place and they do nothing in the end.
you're talking about you're talking about the club that when all right, it's unfortunate timing when they opened that stadium. It was just obviously COVID was starting, and they had to borrow money from the Bank of England to keep them going. And this is why I don't get why Spurs fans. I mean, my brother made a good point. When have they ever spent really big on certain players? Like Dominic Solanke, 60 million. That's crazy. That's crazy amount of money.
So they spent,
And
I think they spent 180 million or 160 on Richarlison, Solanke, and Johnson. You deserve, you deserve relegation with that spending. And I think
nah,
1 year
man.
they brought Lo Celso and Ndombele for a combined 120 million. And Ndombele.
And you know, I give him like one thing that I did as an Arsenal fan. I wanted Basuma when he originally was playing at Brighton because he looked quite decent, but he hasn't really kicked off at Tottenham. Not really.
No.
Yeah. Oh, he's gone. Huh, you're back.
Ah, okay. Maybe Daniel Levy trying to hack us. Something.
Look, but that's the problem as well. Like they've tried so many different ways where they've gone for the big managers. They've gone for Conte. They've gone for Mourinho. It hasn't worked. Then they go for this guy, and originally I thought he was going to do all right, but because he's getting a bit what do you call it, agitated in his press conferences and stuff like that. Like he got annoyed with that woman press conference with the woman journalist and stuff like that. I don't know, bro. I think he needs to start winning and convincingly as well, because that's another thing that Tottenham fans are saying. Like even okay, forget I think they beat Everton 4-0. At the moment, Everton are everybody's whipping boys, so it doesn't really matter. But in terms of the last few games they played, they haven't been convincing. They haven't, not really.
No.
And to be honest, Esteban, like, a few years ago, you could say that you can take a few Tottenham players to put in your starting 11. Who would you take now? Like, really? None of them. Not really. I mean, okay, to be fair to them, because he's a World Cup winner, I'll probably consider Romero as a backup option. But that's it. Like, oh, what's his name? Son. Son is not the same player anymore. He's finished there. He's finished.
I wouldn't take Pedro Porro.
You wouldn't, or you would?
No, I wouldn't. No. Doggy, he didn't miss. It's okay. It's done all right. I'll probably take him as backup, to be fair. Vicario is very good, but I would take him as backup. Van de Ven, I like Van de Ven more than Romero. I think he's better than Romero, in my opinion. Yeah, I'll take Van de Ven. I'll take Van de Ven and probably.
That's what I mean.
Bissouma.
Fair enough. Like I said, Bissouma when he was at Brighton, he looked quite good. But since then, I don't know what it is.
Yeah,
bro. But
last year he was very good at last year. He had a good season. Him and Sa. Sa is someone as well. I wouldn't mind. Malang Sa.
Look,
is that his name? Pabisa? Yeah, Pabisa.
Yeah. Or like I said, Ange, he needs to start winning convincingly. Otherwise, I can't see him getting much time. But then again, who would they hire after him? That's the problem as well. Again, another problem.
Tuchel's available.
Who?
Tuchel.
Yeah, but again, we're missing the point. Ange made sense.
Big name. Big names.
Yeah, exactly. Another big name and he's not easy to deal with, or Tuchel. I remember I said it because I remember when Arsenal had that guy, the scout, Mislintat. Mislintat and Tuchel always used to clash heads at Dortmund. I can't remember who got banned. Somebody from one of the two got banned from the training pitch, and they weren't allowed to be on the training pitch with them. So, or
let me see. Available managers. Okay.
And,
Lampard.
Sorry, I always used to say it was Tuchel. He was never going to last at Chelsea because of this attitude. He's a hothead.
No.
He loses it.
Yeah. He got sacked as well. All right, let me name a few. Lampard.
Nope.
Grandpa.
Okay. Interesting.
Xavi.
Okay. Kind of a big name. Would he go to Spurs?
Edin Terzic, who was at Dortmund last year.
Okay.
Let me see. Daniele De Rossi got sacked by Roma.
Well, one thing for sure, he would fire them up. He's fucking crazy. Did you ever read that quote? What he said on about players using Instagram and stuff?
Yeah, no Instagram, none of that stuff. A lot.
Yeah, he said that, I get angry if I see my players tweeting or Instagramming. I want to take a
Yeah,
baseball bat and smash it around their heads.
he's a hot kid. There's someone else here. Sari. Maurizio
Hmm.
Sari.
Do you know what, man? He got a lot of shit from Chelsea fans,
He
and
did
he
well,
still
man.
managed to win. Yeah, man.
He won the Europa League.
And completely battered Arsenal in the process.
He done well.
And
I'll be real. He done
I
well.
actually liked his style of football. He actually, for an Italian, it was actually quite nice to watch.
Was box office, at least. Was it good?
Do you remember when? Sorry, when we messaged Sari, do you remember when he was going off on one on the touchline, the Carabao Cup final, and he was walking away, and then he came back, mono ammonia. Yeah, but we know.
Ne. Memphis. Narti horas pun
Yeah,
nakawin video.
Sábado for sure.
Yeah.
But anyway, I think we should wrap it up because we dissected all the games, and we'll be back on probably.
Milan Tria, bro.
Sorry.
I mean, Wolves. The Wolves game. That's it.
Oh, who did they play? Sorry, there. Fucking hell.
Newcastle.
And Newcastle won. I
Yeah,
think it was
2-1 was 1-0. Wolves. And then Newcastle, in the space of 5 minutes, they made it 2-1 with Shaw and Barnes, 75th and 80th minute. I won a nice goal by Barnes. I saw the goal. It's in sub. Your boy used to play for Arsenal, Joe Willock, assist.
I actually rated Joe Willock. He was never going to get enough game time, right? But he's not a bad player. But the problem is, again,
decent.
another Arsenal player but he's got injury problems as well.
Yes.
Great
win for Newcastle. Great
win. Before we wrap up and everything with Newcastle, I was watching something today that there's apparently a little bit of a civil war brewing between the chairman, and he's brought somebody in that doesn't really agree with Eddie Howe, and because obviously people, especially England, are looking for a new manager, there might be a chance of Eddie Howe going to England.
Oh, that's interesting because the sporting directors, they were there, they left, didn't they? Amanda and the other guy. And I don't know what's going on.
Is it Dan Ashworth? Is he still there?
No,
Or is he gone?
He left. He went to United.
Yeah. There's something going on there. There's something not right. And can I be honest, though? I actually think it would suit him. I think he would do a good job. And I think out of all the English managers in the Premier League, I don't know how many is there, to be honest, but in terms in Europe, he's probably the best bet.
Yeah, I guess.
Yeah.
I guess he'll do well.
But Newcastle are level points with Arsenal there. They're doing okay at the moment.
They're both 1 point ahead of us. They've been so far.
But apparently the one thing that's pissing off Newcastle fans is his persistence with Longstaff and not starting Tonali.
That's peak.
So
maybe that has to do with my fitness, maybe.
Maybe
because
I mean, Longstaff is a bit like a McTominay, to be honest. He will do a lot of dirty work and he will get stuck in there and stuff like that. And he's been there for a while, so he's part of the furniture. Anyway.
He's there. He's the boy that would say yes. He's the Newcastle lad. He loves the fans. The fans love him. That type of player.
Can I be honest? Like the whole vibes thing, like I get it. Like you don't want just players for vibes, but I actually loved it when we had Aaron Ramsdale, who's a proper Arsenal fan, and he fucking loved the fans and stuff like that. But how long does that last for?
Until at some point. Yeah.
Anyway, I think actually could we say that's a surprise? It's not a surprise. I mean, Newcastle are a better team than Wolves, obviously, and Wolves. Yeah, like I said to you before, Wolves for me will probably be like between 15th and 10th. They're probably the best they can go for is the top 10. I don't think they will. Newcastle, we've said it already. Like year before they got Champions League. Last year, no. Where are they actually? They didn't even get you. They didn't even get Conference League, did they? They didn't get anything in the end. No,
They
they
did.
didn't.
They did. But Man United won the FA Cup, and
Yeah.
Chelsea got Conference, and United got Europa League.
That's right.
So Newcastle
Yeah.
got knocked out, and they didn't get Europe because United finished 8th. So yeah.
To be fair to Newcastle, maybe it's a better thing in general just to fight for, one of the domestic cups or even try and get top 4 this year. So yeah. Anyway, man,
That'd
I
be
think
good.
we should. I think we should wrap it up. If before I go, if you're new to the channel, click like, subscribe, share it across all your social media platform. We appreciate your support, and yeah, we'll be back on Saturday for the Ammonia game review. Anything else you want to say there, Stefano?
Now, thanks for people, who have watched. Thank you very much for watching us. It's a pleasure. Make sure you subscribe, hit the like button and everything. And now that we're getting new subscribers, it's nice. And we want to do more and expand our channel. And yeah, I mean, we'll see what we're going to do in the near future. But for now, we're very happy, I would say. Things going. So,
Yeah, to think about that.
yeah.
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 Yeah, man. We're learning and we're trying to get as big as we can get. And like I said, anybody's welcome to join on our show to discuss football in general. And like we said, we'll be back on Saturday, and there will be more coming from us in terms of even like doing game reviews and playing on certain games like FIFA, probably Call of Duty and stuff like that. Right. Good night from me. Good night from Stefano, and we'll see you Saturday.